Now in this part we will be doing about the refraction through a prism. তো এটা করার আগে we have to understand what is a prism actually, ঠিক আছে? তো তোমরা যখন একটা প্রিজমের দিকে দেখবা তো প্রিজমের মধ্যে কি থাকে? It consists of two rectangular surface, glass surface, normal একটা glass surface, you can buy it from anywhere, normal একটা glass surface যার মধ্যে দুইটা triangular faces. There will be two triangular faces and covering these triangular faces will be three rectangular faces. Okay, আচ্ছা এবার প্রিজমের ব্যাপারে একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট জিনিস, whenever you will be going to buy a prism, the owner will always ask you about the angle of prism of the prism will be buying. Okay, তোমার সবসময় এই জিনিসটা জিজ্ঞাসা করবে what angle of prism you want. Okay, this angle of prism is very important. Okay, any refraction that occurs in this particular prism will depend on this angle of prism. Very important point, this angle of prism. So now আমরা এখানে বুঝতে লাগবো যে how does this refraction occurs in a prism. Okay, so for that particular purpose let me only consider the triangular surface. ठीक है, prism को ठीक ऐसे करके सीधा करके अगर हम पकड़ेंगे तो we'll be considering only the triangular surface. So now how does refraction occurs in this triangular surface? Now you see, if I incident a light on this particular point, okay, the light will enter the prism. আমরা কি জানি, whenever light enters from a lighter medium to a denser medium, okay, to a denser medium, what happens? The ray of light, if this is the normal, the ray of light will bend towards the normal itself, isn't it? Yeah? Instead of going straight, it will bend towards the normal. Whenever this light will strike this particular part, এই পার্টে যে সময় এটা স্ট্রাক করব, এখানেও কি there will be another normal, and the light that is escaping into the air will now bend away from the normal. Understood? It will bend away from the normal. Lighter medium to away from the normal bend করব. এবার if I want to draw the angles in them, দেখো এই যে জায়গাটা আছে, this is the incident angle. Okay, this is the refraction angle. Here it suffers again another refraction. So this is actually incident angle. ঠিক আছে, inside the glass prism there is an incident angle. Let me write it as R2. Reason কেন আমি একটু পরে কইতাছি. This particular part is the emergent angle. Now why this part is written as refraction angle 2? Because আমরা reversibility মধ্যে কি দেখছিলাম যে লাইটটা যদি আমি এখান থেকে রিভার্স করে দিই, it will travel through the same path, isn't it? Reversibility কইছিল it will travel through the same path if the direction of light reverses. তো তার জন্য এটা কি হইব, in that case this would become the refraction angle, this incident angle will become the refraction angle if the light reverses. So that's why we are writing it as কি refraction angle only. তো নাও এবার রিফ্রাকশনের মধ্যে we have to understand এই প্রিজমের মধ্যে যে লাইটটা যাইতেছে, ঠিক আছে, এই যে রিফ্রাকশন সাফার করতেছে, what I have to do, I have to find the various factors upon which this particular type of refraction depends. তো কেমনে বের করুম দেখো, একদম সোজা, very easy. তো let me mark some points here. Say this is your point P, a Q, this point is say R, okay, this point is say S. Okay, তোমরা যদি ভালো করে দেখো, and this point, আচ্ছা let it be. If you see closely, you will observe that this structure, that is your S, P, Q and R, it makes up as a key cyclic quadrilateral. Here there is a angle A. And in cyclic quadrilateral, a simple method is there. The opposite angles sum up to be 180 degree. তুমি যদি এই angle S and angle R যদি plus করো, this will give you 180. That means if this angle is A, this angle will be 180 minus A. Understood this part? Now you see, if I join this line PQ, this angle was your R1 and this angle was your R2. So if I take this triangle PQR, from this triangle PQR, দেখো R1 plus R2 plus 180 minus A will give you 180 degree. This is the key angle sum property. কি আছিল এটা? This is the angle sum property. Okay, তো এখানের মধ্যে তুমি দেখো, if I take this part that side, কি হইব? 180 will be cut out and I'll get a formula here that angle of prism will be the sum of R1 and R2. Let me write this part separately. This already I got. Okay, this is your equation 1. Understood? So now what I'll be doing, দেখো, originally if the prism was not there, তো এই লাইটটা, এই যে particular incident lightটা, where would it travel? এটা কোন দিকে যাইলো হইলে? This will travel straight, isn't it? Huh? But as the prism is placed here, it has deviated from its path, isn't it? মনে আছে lateral displacement আমরা একটা স্ল্যাব রাখছিলাম, সেম জিনিস। lateral displacement আমরা একটা স্ল্যাব রাখছিলাম, তখন কি হইছে? There was a displacement shown. Okay, but here we have played a prism. Okay, we have placed a prism. I missed the language there. Okay, we have placed a prism here. So এখানে কি হইছে? It got deviated from its path. It was traveling in this way, now it is traveling downward towards the base of prism. So if I draw this line backward, I will be getting another angle here. This angle is known as the angle of deviation. This angle is known as the angle of deviation. আমরা কি করব এখানে? একটা ফর্মুলা ফ্রেম করব, দেখো কেমনে। তো this is your P, this was your Q, and let it be, this point is let it be T. So if I take this triangle PTR, look at the diagram closely. Okay, pause the video and look at the diagram closely here. If I draw the angle PTR, then this part is your deviation angle. Now this part, this angle, if you see closely, this is your angle I. This whole part should be your angle I, isn't it? This whole part should be your angle I, vertically opposite angle. Upon that particular part, এই যে নিচের পার্টটা আছে, that is R1. So this part must be I minus R1. Similarly, this part must be E minus R2. Understood? So again, by applying angle sum property, okay, let us not apply the angle sum property. Here so another formula is there. What? Exterior angle in a triangle, exterior angle equal to sum of interior opposite angle. Okay, the exterior angle here, it is delta, that is your deviation angle, and interior opposite কি আছে দেখো, I minus R1 and E minus R2. Understood? So if I frame this diagram, I'll get this part, isn't it? So from this part, what I can write, see, I plus E minus this R1 plus R2 is your what? This is your angle A. So if I frame this formula consciously, I will get delta plus angle A, means angle of prism, equal to I plus emergent angle E. This is a very important formula, So from this part, we will be obtaining now that on what factors does this particular deviation angle, the deviation that is caused by this particular prism, depends on. Okay, so this factor deviation, on which factor does this particular angle deviation depends on? So as we can see from the formula, let me rub this part. So as we can see from the formula itself, দেখো এই যে particular deviation আছে, এটা কার উপরে ডিপেন্ড করে? First of all, in this particular formula there is your angle of prism, so deviation angle depends on the angle of prism. Then there is your incident angle, so deviation angle depends on the angle of incidence. Okay, now for number 3, देखो deviation angle, now you see this emergent angle is nothing but it is a type of incident angle only if I reverse the direction. Okay, তো এটার উপর আমরা এত ডিসকাস করতাম না because these two are the same. Number 3 is it depends on the refractive index of the medium. It depends on key refractive index of the medium or the material with which the prism is made. And last but not the least, it depends on wavelength of light passing through the prism. Okay. So my main problem here is how does this deviation angle depends on these factors. Okay. How does this deviation angle depends on all these factors. So what I will do, I will discuss this particular part later. Okay. This is a bit complex. এটা একটু পরে করতেছি. Now let us understand the easy parts. First of all, angle of prism. Okay. For this part, we will be drawing certain diagrams. Like for angle of prism, say I have taken two particular prism. One with a very small angle of prism and another with a wider angle of prism. Okay. Understood? So now what happen, you see, if the same incident angle I have incident on both the particular prism, here also when it comes out it will go in this way. So deviation angle dekho. So this is the deviation angle here. Look closely. This is the deviation angle here. Similarly here then if you see, this is the deviation angle here. In which case it is greater? Huh? Obviously in the second case. That means more the angle of prism, more will be the angle of deviation. Understood? So upon this factor, এটার মধ্যে কি directly depend করব. এটার মধ্যে directly depend করব. Deviation angle will directly depend on angle of prism. Next, refractive index. Now for this particular part, let us take an example. Say two prism of same angle of prism. Two prism with the same angle of prism is placed here. One is made up of diamond. Okay. I'm very rich, I've taken a diamond prism, okay, and say someone else, okay, is very poor, he have taken a glass prism. Okay, so now what happened, you see, diamond have a mu or refractive index of 2.4, whereas glass have a mu of 1.5. So what happens whenever a light enters in this particular prism, diamond er moddhe ki refractive index is much greater, isn't it? So it will be greatly reflected back. Okay, greatly reflected, and so the angle of deviation that will be formed will be greater, whereas in glass the angle of deviation is very less. Understood? It is very less, so the refraction suffered will also be less. As a result, the angle formation will be very less. So upon this refractive index also, deviation angle depends directly. Now for the third part, it is your wavelength of light. Now, আমরা সবাই জানি যে wavelength, this is a universal fact, wavelength যত বেশি থাকবে, একটা লাইটের wavelength যত বেশি থাকবে, তত কম refraction suffer করে. More the wavelength of light, lesser will be the refraction suffered. Always remember. Example, if I take a white light, say this is a white light, and I made it to pass through a prism, what happened, you see, white is actually not a light. You know now, white is actually not a light. Whenever light is reflected back, okay, reflected back and it reaches our eyes, we are able to see the object. In case of white light ki hoy dekho, white light er shomoy all the 7 colors of light, they are reflected back to our eyes. So when all the 7 colors fall on our eyes, that object appears to be white in color. White actually is not in color. Okay, it is actually not a color, it is the combination of all the 7 colors, Pivgior. Okay. So now what happens, whenever white light enters a prism, it suffers deviation. কি হইবে এখানে? এখানে কি হয়? 7 colors is seen here. Okay, 7 different colors will be seen. Upon that, the lowest value of color, the color that is coming in the lowest part, sorry, the color that is coming in the lowest part will be violet. Okay, আর যে কালারটা সবথেকে উপরে আইবো, that will be red in color. Okay, because red have the maximum wavelength. তো যার বেশি wavelength থাকবো, he suffers a very less amount of refraction. যার বেশি wavelength তার কম refraction, ঠিক আছে? তো তার জন্য কি হয়, it travels almost straight, whereas violeter কি হয়, it has a very low amount of wavelength. তো as a result তার মধ্যে refraction কি অনেক বেশি সাফার হয়, ঠিক আছে? তো now come into this part, okay? Angle of incidence, এই পার্টটা দেখো। এবার দেখো এই পার্টটা ভীষণ ইম্পর্টেন্ট, দেখো ভীষণ ইম্পর্টেন্ট। তো how do angle of deviation depends on the incident angle? Very important এটা। তো এটা আমরা বুঝতে গেলে কি করতে পারবো এখানে দেখো। তো এটা বুঝতে গেলে একটা পার্টিকুলার সেটআপ দেখাইতাছি। হয় কি দেখো, see this is the prism, this is a point of incidence, this is the incident angle, and say this is the norm. তো experimentally দেখা গেছে, এটার মধ্যে experimentally দেখা গেছে, say this is 70 degree. Okay, so when the light will come out, এখানে দেখা যায় যে deviation angle যেটা আছে, let it be say about 35 degree. Say the deviation angle is 35 degree. But এবার যে সময় দেখা যায় 70 ডিগ্রিটারে তুমি কম করে সেরা, এটারে তুমি say it is 50 degree, তখন দেখা যায় deviation angle increase to 48 degree. তার মানে lesser the angle of incidence, more will be the deviation, isn't it? তো এখান থেকে তোমরা মনে এখন কনক্লুড করে নিতেছো, আরে তার মানে ইনডাইরেক্টলি ডিপেন্ড করে lesser the incident angle, more will be the deviation. আসলে এমন হয় না, কিন্তু দেখা যায় যে এই পার্টিকুলার লাইটটা এই পার্টিকুলার নরমালটারে ক্রস করব, এই সিচুয়েশনটা পুরোপুরি উল্টে যায়। Whenever this incident angle crosses this particular normal, the whole situation reverses. That is, after it crosses the normal, angle of incidence become directly dependent on the angle of deviation. মানে more the incident angle, more will be the deviation. Okay, but it has to cross a certain point. That particular point is known as the angle of minimum deviation. Angle of minimum deviation. Okay, that particular point is known as the angle of minimum deviation. এবার ব্যাপার হলো angle of minimum deviation কোন জায়গাতে আয়। তো দেখা গেছে যে সময় এই পার্টিকুলার ইনসিডেন্ট অ্যাঙ্গেল আর এখানে যে emergent angle, if the emergent angle and the incident angle is the same, then this particular deviation angle is the least. After this point, the incident angle and deviation angle become directly proportional. তার মানে একটা পয়েন্ট মনে করে এই জায়গাতে আছে, understood? So let here be the incident angle and here be the deviation angle. Okay, তো দেখা যায় ইনসিডেন্ট অ্যাঙ্গেল একটা পার্টিকুলার পয়েন্টে থাকলে দ্যাট ইজ ইমার্জেন্ট অ্যাঙ্গেলের যে সময় ইকুয়াল থাকবো, অ্যাঙ্গেল অফ ডেভিয়েশন কি মিনিমাম। হিয়ার দ্য অ্যাঙ্গেল অফ ডেভিয়েশন ইজ দ্য minimum, delta min. Below this the graph is like that. Okay, that means below this lesser the incident angle, more will be the deviation, and after that more the incident angle, more will be the deviation. তার মানে এই পয়েন্টের আগে কি ইনভার্সলি ডিপেন্ড করতেছে। এই পয়েন্টের আগে, এই পার্টিকুলার পয়েন্টের আগে, হিয়ার দিস the incident angle and deviation angle will be inversely dependent, but after this point, after this particular point, now if you do the incident angle in this way, okay, then the deviation angle will increase. Okay, it will depend directly, understood?